So this French guy, he's a nobleman, and his name was Detra, maybe?
D'Artagnan? Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
No, that's the wrong one.
Yeah.
He was an exiled French nobleman at the time. He was later exposed as a double agent.
Oh, those double agents.
Working for Napoleon, like as in like he had been faking being exiled, so he had been like a friend of the London, and then it turned out, just kidding, Napoleon was actually his friend, and he was like feeding him information.
Actually gathering a little info.
Yeah. Whoops. He told Mrs. Bathurst in 1810 that her husband had been seized in the yard and spirited away from Perleberg by French cavalry, and then incarcerated in a fortress.
Yeah, at Magdeburg.
Yeah. And actually, a variation of this theory appeared in a European magazine around the 1810 time, so pretty contemporary to his disappearance. But they added a detail that the troops had just passed by a similar place where Bathurst was, and that they had been instructed to go kidnap Bathurst because apparently he was carrying Austrian court papers. I don't know if that's true or not. He did have a considerable amount of unaccounted time in his travels.
Yeah.
Local opinion was that the French secret police had been actually chasing Bathurst, and that's kind of where his unaccounted for time went. He was trying to shake them. So like there was like a town that he passed through 25 miles southeast-ish, like on his trip from Berlin to Perleberg.
That's Kiertz?
Yeah, that apparently like the French police had kind of set their tracker on him at that point, and that the reason it took him so long to get from Berlin to Perleberg was that he had been like trying to shake them, kind of
taking around
these
about
weird
zigzag
patterns, things like that. Apparently he had been snatched by some people, some French police sympathizers that were hiding in a house near Perleberg that was a French sympathizer.
Yeah. So the thing about it is the French actually taking him wouldn't be totally surprising, because he took 10 days to get from Berlin to Perleberg.
Yeah.
Which suggests to me he was making a lot of side trips and doing some spying.
Yeah.
And they might have been like they wanted to find out what he knew, but most especially they wanted to keep him from getting back to England
with whatever
with
he
the
knew.
information that he had.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest that is the biggest thing that makes no sense for me with this story. If you look at the Battle of Wagram, which is the 4th and the 5th of July, and the accountings always say, and then he was recalled to England. Okay, so let's presume that means somebody sent correspondence to him saying, you need to leave, stupid. Don't just stay there. Let's just pretend that he's staying because he thinks he has to do his duty. That would mean that correspondence saying the Battle of Wagram has happened, say it takes a month to get back to London, and then another month for that correspondence to get back. So that's July, August. This is now September that he's getting his correspondence. That still means that he should have been out of town much earlier than he was. It's I did the Google Earth thing here, and it's approximately 500 miles or 800 kilometers from Vienna to Perleberg.
513.
Okay, so approximate.
To Perleberg or to Berlin?
To Perleberg.
Perleberg, and
Okay.
as the crow flies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. The one that I pulled, I actually
As
took this
roads
based
go,
off
right?
of roads, current
Yeah.
roads, which are actually going to be kind of reflective of paths because of topography, but not perfect. I get it.
They'll be a lot straighter and more,
But my point here is that I did a couple of different things. I did research on how fast does a carriage travel in a day, and the average carriage could travel about 25 miles per day. So if it's 500 miles, that's 12 or 13 days. No, that's 20 days. Sorry. Should have taken him about 20 days.
To get to Berlin.
To get to Perleberg.
Oh.
So he should have been there. If he was leaving in the beginning of September, he should have been past there long before he ever got there. But then if you also look at contemporary accounts of people's travel times who were traveling back and forth in that area, that trip actually only took about 12 days, give or take.
Wow.
So my giant question is, WTF, what was he doing in the area? Because it seems like he waited an odd amount of time to leave, and then it took an extremely long amount of time for him to make a commute, which others at the time had been making much quicker.
Let's just for a second.
Yeah.
I want to extrapolate that theory out to like modern day, right? I've driven across the country a couple of times. I've made treks that truckers make in like half the time that I make.
The people that I'm taking for the contemporaries were diplomats of the time.
Okay, but I don't think that Bathurst was like, he was wearing like really fancy clothes. Mm-hmm. And he didn't seem like the kind of guy who had about any kind of hustle in him. He was going to take his time.
He wasn't going to power through?
Yeah. But the other thing is he did wait so long that it's totally likely that there were like roadblocks or things that he had to like pause and pull off the street and hide from the armies. I agree with you. It took him way longer to leave and to get places than it should have.
And he was going through the Federation of the Rhine, which is not going to be happy to see an Englishman.
Right. So it's not unlikely that he was taking these weird circular routes around to get places, but I agree, especially once we start looking at the fact that it took him somehow 10 days to do 100 miles from Berlin to Perlberg.
Well, that's why I'm thinking he made some side trips and
I think he
spying.
must have.
I think that he thought he was the original James Bond and he was pulling some kind of shenanigans.
Well, he might have actually been the original James Bond.
Well, he evidently not, because James Bond never gets caught and dies. Okay. James Bond gets caught and lives and gets the lady. Yeah. This guy got neither his life nor the lady.
Right.
So.
Well, you don't know.
Well, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, damn you!
He could have disappeared into the sunset with a beautiful new lady.
To our next theory. He ran off to join the circus.
Where was he going to find another lady with as awesome of name? Oh, wait, no, it was his sister. Never mind.
Yeah.
His wife really hit... Yeah, okay, never mind.
No, I mean,
awesome
I totally agree with you. I actually think, despite all odds, that a French abduction is, like, the most likely of the theories.
The secret police, Napoleon's secret police were apparently, like, just all over the area.
Yeah.
I mean, and turncoats, I don't want to say anything negative about people who feel like they have to cast their lot in with who is currently in power, but they are negatively referred to a lot as turncoats. That's the phrase. But there are a lot of people who said, you know what? I need to survive. I need to make a living. Tell me what to do. Tell me who to look for. I found one. I took care of it. And those are the people who are going to do the reporting and may have done the deed. And they're always lumped under the umbrella of, oh, well, that was the secret police.
Well, somebody could have ratted him out for a reward too.
Yeah.
Well, what's his name? The guy that paid off the dowries. I mean, maybe that's where part of that money came from.
That's true. And it's also, I guess, not totally unlikely to me that somebody hit the guy over the head, stole his coin purse, and then called the secret police that were hiding out at the sympathizer's house. I mean, it was right across from the post house, which I
your thoroughfare.
Yeah,
I mean, they were like real
town.
close together. So the French police could have been hiding out literally next door to where the horse carriage was being drawn, and you just slightly bribe the guy who's taking care of the horses to hit the guy over the head. You drag him off.
Not as if Bathurst knows who the staff is, so they could have literally posed as stablemen.
Right, or the stableman could have
posed as a policeman.
Or just like been the hitman for
the perpetrator.
Him. Hit him over the head, steal his purse, distribute coin to a couple people who are complicit, and then have the police come drag. As I said originally, the thing about this story is that people say, he walked around the other side of the horses and disappeared.
And poof.
Not quite
His
like
attendants didn't know he was missing for a freaking hour. Like, that gives so much time for so many things to happen. So for me, I'm happy to say it was the French police.
Quite possibly.
It was that or, the doctor.
But just Doctor, yeah, or aliens, but
well, no, because Napoleon was he was not in a good mood. I can see him giving orders, shoot to kill orders, essentially.
Yeah.
If you find a British on our territory, our newly claimed territory or newly reclaimed territory, because they keep making these stupid coalitions. And again, this is a historical bit. The British had not done him any favors because they had control over the seas. They had the better navy, and the Brits or the French had to do everything on land. That was a huge imposition to them. So he had no love for them. So I can see him just be like, if you find any British, kill them. I don't care. And I'll pay you a fee.
Yeah.
Could have been, or it could have been they hauled him off to Magdeburg prison and just interrogated the crap out of him for a while.
Totally.
And,
and then denied it all.
Yeah.
Their version of Gitmo.
Dropped his coat and somebody picked it up, and that's why they found it.
Yeah. And as far as being killed, you might have just died in prison of disease. I mean, because that happened a lot back in those days.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot. They might not have intended to keep him forever. They might have just said, hey, until the hostilities are done, he's a prisoner of war, and we're going to let him go. And then, oops, he gets typhus and dies.
Whoops.
Yeah, oops.
Yeah.
What's the story I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
That's the one that is so improbable because of the fact that everybody dies in those deplorable conditions.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't. Most people aren't going to last that long.
No.
If you're lucky and you've got a strong immune system, maybe you could hold out for a long time. But
3/4 of them didn't.
No.
Yeah,
So that's why it could be that he died that way.
Yeah. It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Actually, people outside of prisons in much healthier conditions with better diets died a lot too. So
totally.
Entirely possible.
Yeah. So
there's so many ways he could have died because it was 1809 and people died like flies in those days.
Yeah. I mean, I think French abduction is the most likely. What do you guys think?
Oh, God, I'm having a hard time making up my mind. He was a high-value target in that way, but then again, for a robber or bandit, he was a high-value target, too.
There's just
this guy had a
there's
target
a lot
painted
of
on his
things.
back.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, I can just... the descriptions of him being such a worrywart and so nervous, I could almost see this being a situation where he did himself in, and by that I mean nobody else was around. He freaked out. He dropped his jacket. He ran into the woods. He suffers hypothermia because it is November in that area, and he keels over and the animals eat him. And somebody finds his pants later. Like, is that it? No, but it's just like that might as well be brought in because there's
many possibilities.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Napoleon's agents got him, but...
Seems most likely, although the possibility, because he's dressed so nicely and got all this expensive stuff, the watch, the coins, the diamond, it seems like robbery, murder is also, very highly possible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
the hell knows?
no matter what, it wasn't some weird disappearance. I think that...
No aliens.
Not UFOs.
No, but
UFOs.
I think it's really important that, like, the records show that Thinking Sideways thinks there was an hour that a lot of stuff could have happened to him, and there's a lot of unaccounted time from his time between Berlin and Perlberg.
Yep.
I think those are two really important points to bring up when we talk about this story, that it may not actually be as fantastical and nefarious as everybody thinks.
Oh, I don't think this is nearly as fantastic as is made out in the 3-paragraph post.
Yeah, agreed.
That's the problem, is that this is put up in so many places in such an abbreviated form.
Oh, I know. He stepped around the nose of the horses and he was gone. Yeah, I know.
No.
Didn't happen like that.
It didn't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
so if you want to see some of our links, especially that whole amazing book by Tryphaena Thistlewhistle. That's how I'm going to say her name.
Tryphaena Thistlewhistle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the right way.
Yeah.
She's from Gryffindor.
I like Tryphaena Thistlewhistle better, but if you want to see that or any of our other links to research, you can find that information as well as stream the show on our website. The website is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. You can obviously listen to us there. I think you can download from the website. You can still download from the website.
Yep. It's in the player.
It's pretty likely that you are not doing that. You're probably listening to us on iTunes. If you're doing that, go ahead and give us a subscribe and rate and review if you haven't already. That's how other people find us. You can download and stream from pretty much every server, including Google Play, which is, again, where I found that book. So, like, great resource. Like,
yay,
overall,
Google. Yeah, I like
Google taking over the world, and we're happy about it, which is great.
We're happy about it now.
I'm happy about it
Thank
forever.
you for Google overlords.
Yes.
All praise the Google.
If your service allows rating and reviews, please go ahead and do that, as well as subscribe. Again, that's how other people who use the same service that you use will find us. If you don't do that, nobody will ever know about us, and then we'll have to stop doing it someday. You can find us on social media. We've got a Facebook group and page. The group is public. The page is public. You
have to request access.
Yeah. So like the page, join the group. There's some really great, interesting discussions that happen there almost every day. Actually, more than almost every day. Like
every day.
A bunch of times every day.
Absolutely.
You can tweet at us at Thinkin' Sideways. Please don't try to start a conversation with me there, though, because like 140 characters is not enough.
Well, especially for really serious conversations.
Yeah.
If you have one little remark to make, it's great.
That's great. You know. Yeah, it's good for the one-off comments, but
nothing is better than the comment followed by the response of please email at but blah blah blah. Please respond at blah 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 blah. Okay, I give up.
Yeah. No. So you can tweet at us. You can also follow us. We've got a good amount of followers so far. I'm pretty happy with the fact that I can just tweet stupid memes all the time and people are like loving that, so that's great. You can also find us on Reddit. We've got our own subreddit. We're Thinking Sideways, our Thinking Sideways, and there's some interesting discussion that happens there as well. You can email us with any kind of feedback, suggestions, general accolades. We're thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show in a number of ways if you would like. You can buy merch, which is shirts, mugs, stickers, blah, 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 night lights even. We've got Zazzle and Redbubble. Those there's links on our website for those. You can do a one-time donation on PayPal. You can set up a recurring donation, but as somebody who has a recurring donation on PayPal, it's not the best way to do it. If you want to do a recurring donation, you can do that on Patreon. That's
much better.
PATEON.
You missed an R.
PATREON.com.
You are right.
And it's patreon.com/thinking sideways, and you pledge a certain amount. It's like a pledge per lap. Each episode is a lap. So you pledge a certain amount per episode, and then you just pay at the end of the month. And that's been really helpful in supporting our show.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
Indeed.
All of that having been said, I think I'm going to go ahead and shaze on out of here.
You go ahead, Steve. I'm still thinking.
Oh, I'm disappeared.
Well, yeah, adieu.
Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by Hurry Mason, Cat Turney at Claw. Instead, it's brought to you by our listeners, because you guys are awesome, and we wanted to tell you you're awesome, because we appreciate that you listen to the show. So, on with the show.
Thinking Sideways.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined this week by
Joe
and
Steve.
And today we're going to talk about a mystery.
Really?
Yep.
Cool.
We're going to talk about a mysterious disappearance.
We haven't done one of those in a while.
Actually, we haven't.
No, we haven't actually. I was kidding, but
yeah,
you're right.
I know.
Okay.
I've been on kind of a I don't want to talk about it streak, but I'm ready to talk about it again. It's fine.
All right.
This week we're going to talk about the disappearance of Lauren Spear, who is it was a 2011 disappearance from Bloomington, Indiana.
You may have heard of it. It's kind of in the news a lot.
It has been in the news a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, not just in the super recent news, but it just passed its 5-year anniversary, so it always gets the refresh.
Yeah. Sorry.
When you hit those kind of anniversaries.
Let's just dive right in.
Sweet.
Great. Do you guys have more like banter or anything?
No.
Fluff out the beginning of this episode with?
So I was on the internet the other day, and I found this thing. No,
Were you?
Kidding. No, I never go on the internet. You know that.
I do.
Just Wikipedia.
Okay, so Lauren was an only child who grew up in an upper middle class family in New York. She was 4'11", which
4'11"?
Yeah, 4'11" which I didn't bother